Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are going to travel to the Holy River land or Sacred Shore to Ribeira Sacra in Galicia, northwest of Spain. And I'm drinking the most splendid grape variety in the region, Mencía, a beautiful, elegant wine, which is also grown in Bierzo and maybe the most well-known terroir for the grape variety, but it's completely different because in Bierzo there is a warmer climate and mostly alluvial soil, but in Ribeira Sacra it's rather cool and more slate-based soil. But let's take a look where it is actually. So just a few thoughts about this terroir and why is it called actually heroic viticulture. Because the valleys are like deep wrinkles in an old worker's hand, I would say. So as many other of the best European wine regions or terroirs, winemaking really dates back to the Romans and then taken to the next level and actually saved by monks in the Middle Ages. And there are two rivers in this region which really defines the climate. One is the Minho River, or more on the western side of the terroir, which is more on an Atlantic climate, I would say, and the Seal River, which is more of a continental character, also a bit drier, because at least 800 millimeters of rainfall is typical in the region, so quite a lot of precipitation, but also they get enough sun in the summer to get these ripe flavors in the wine. But still, because of the altitude and also because of the rainfall, there is a freshness and acidity in the wine. So the Minho flows north to south, while the Sil east to west, but both rivers flows towards the Atlantic Ocean from the Cantabria mountain. And the humidity is also much lower than, for example, in Rias Baixas next to the ocean. And actually, the soil is also quite varied, but mostly acidic and mostly schist-based. And just a few words about the producer, because you also vote with your money and your choice for the family who is actually taking care of this land and takes risks in this, difficult to cultivate terroir to bring these beauties into your glass. So it started like 20 years ago. They have about 10 hectares. They are in transition to biodynamic viticulture. It's a real family project, and they use a lot of like granite and wood, which are natural materials found in the region. Take advantages of the slopes, for example, so they use no pumps, very minimal sulfur, they use spontaneous fermentation. Very rarely use first field barrels because Mencía actually doesn't handle oak well, but ages better in bottles. So I would say it's a very delicate, very not market driven, but authenticity seeking winemaking and viticulture, and that's what I love. So, but the wine. Mencía usually doesn't require decanting, and it's particularly true for this wine ghost in front of me. The appearance in itself is very vivid, kind of dancing, very agile. You really expect something like thin or tenuous almost. But you sniff and the dramatic landscape of Ribeira Sacra is really coming to your mind, and the river valleys. And it's rather a cool nose with some irony notes in it, and hard to get berries like junipers, huckleberries, elderberries, and a bit of like, I would say, untamed smell, kind of bit of with swift lavender notes, or almost like kind of violet aromas. And the palate is like these berry notes are really confirmed, but the palate is more on the red cherry side with a hint of like dirt on them, like a pure dark piece of land, if there is such. And this is a wine that really requires attentiveness and delicacy. the figure of the wine itself, so the texture of the body, is rather subtle but substantive. And really the tannins go hand in hand with the acidity, but the acidity rather gives the direction of the wine, doesn't overwhelm it, and the tannins are rather velvety and silky. And the wine is rather whispering and insinuates than overwhelm or shout. All the elements of the wine speak the same language of elegance and sophistication, I would say. So instead of the usual Spanish red wine fire, the wine really smolders and requires a peace of mind that you bring into looking at a wine and really listen carefully. So I hope you get something out of this video. I love how versatile Spain is as a wine terroir, and I love to find these beautiful authentic producers and wines in tiny terroirs like Ribeira Sacra, and I enjoy looking at the landscape, at least in video in COVID time, and I hope you can enjoy the wine in the near future as well. So, salud, thanks for joining.